The Hangout on Air is live, and we are back for the UdG Agora last hangout of the online segment. Tanis and Nancy, hola.
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 This is week 8.
Week 8. How'd it get to be 8 already?
It went by really fast, and it looks like everybody's been working really, really hard. So
Indeed.
Nancy's typing away quickly.
Hopefully,
I'm trying to tweet. I'm trying to tweet.
Good. I was going to ask the tweet, and you're reading my mind, Nancy. Thank you.
So this week, for those of you who are going to join us either live or later on the archive, we are talking to you about Comparte, about your final reports, and your reports will go and live forever in Comparte. So we thought it would be a good idea to, first of all, have Ali and Sandra here from SIEP to talk about why the Comparte reports are so important from an administrative perspective, and also to talk you through how you go about creating a really good final report and getting it into Comparte. And it's very simple. But we have learned that Comparte reports are best drafted and shared with your triad and polished, and then they go and live very easily in Comparte, in the tool. And that way the whole world can see them, and your colleagues at UdG can reference them and use them in the future. So they are a very important part of this diploma for many reasons.
And we do have 2 people viewing, although I just learned that one of them is Ken, so say hello to Ken. If you are watching, it's rather rewarding for us to know that we're just not talking to ourselves, although we like talking to ourselves. But if you are watching, tweet out to us with the UdG Agora tag. So we can say, hey, Ken's watching. Hey, Ken.
Yay, Ken.
He's a big fan. And of course, you know, the reason we chose the name Comparte means a lot, that this is not just submitting a report like you're turning in a grade to your teacher. That the real value of this whole project is sharing your work with others. When we go and look at the site, you'll be able to see the work of 100+ reports from the 2015 Agora project. And we will be suggesting, when we communicate with you through DLO and Tiny Letter, that you start by perhaps looking at some reports and finding ones perhaps in your discipline, or ones that use the same technology, because as we'll show, there are many ways to find reports to look at. So you can click and see all the ones that used YouTube, or all the ones that were in mathematics. And if you're like me, sometimes you like to be surprised. So I have a button you can click, and Nancy's hold up a sign, and Comparte is share. You can get a random report, so you can just get a random one delivered to you if you just want to explore. But we want to make sure that you can be able to share the idea for your project, how you did it, what the students said, and as much media as possible.
All right. So I'm wondering if we can talk first about maybe we start with the 3 sort of steps to preparing a Comparte report, and then maybe we could do a quick tour of Comparte. Very nice. Read some reports. Number 1. Now I'm just gonna. Should I jump over to screen share? Is that okay? I'll try and jump over and just walk and talk.
Yeah.
Let's go here. So I'm going to just jump to this slide first.
Okay, I'll mute.
It's joyful.
Okay.
Okay, so where am I here?
I can see it.
Can you see it? Good.
Yep.
Okay. So the first sort of step is that to know what you should put in a Comparte report, it's useful to read some Comparte reports. And not all of them are excellent, So you want to make sure that you look at them from your perspective and think, is this report useful to me or not useful? And why is that? And really kind of think about that. And this activity you might want to do with your triads. You know, each of you maybe grab one report and talk about it and share why you think it's useful or not useful. So that's step one. After you've done that, why don't you use Google Docs or Word to draft your report? And
so can I jump in for 1 second?
Yeah.
Because there's something that you had said earlier when we were prepping for this call that I think is really important is look for people who've done things with similar approaches or similar domains or similar tools, because that can help you actually relate to the report in an interesting way. Or you could be random, that's fine too, but you can search in Comparte. So that's, just wanted to bring that up. Okay, I'm going to mute again.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And when we jump over to Comparte, let's maybe walk through that and show how you would do that. Because that's the great thing about Comparte is that it's really easy to do that. It's a very, very simple way to publish something on the web, and it's really easy. If you can do something in Word or in Google Docs, you can easily publish your report in Comparte. So we're recommending that you draft your Comparte report in something else first, and that way you have a document in case something happens, the internet clicks out, you've got a document that you can save. And we'll show you that in Comparte, there's actual headings that we want you to follow for completing your report. And then share and review this with your triad. Again, make this better by helping each other. You don't want to just throw something up there because, again, it's going to be there forever. The world is seeing it. Try and make it the best you can make it. And even if your implementation didn't work, you can still have a really good report and a really good reflection about that. And that's really what the most important thing is. And then finally, we'll show you how you just copy and paste that report into Comparte, and you add your media and whatever to support your report. So we have some examples we can show you, but maybe first we can jump over to Comparte and just talk through some of the features. What do you think?
I think that's a fantastic idea.
What enthusiasm.
Do you want to do this?
Sure, I'll jump over to the...
Good.
Okay, are you seeing this well? Am I screen sharing? Yeah?
Yes, you are.
Although I'm just showing it, it's not... Okay, I've got to jump over to my actual window though, right?
Yeah, if you want to control it.
Here we go. This better?
Yeah, looks nice. I like that site. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. So you can see, you can get easily to Comparte from the UdG Agora online.net link. And this is where all the reports from last year have been put. And the nice thing about this, and we hope that you've been doing this already, but as you're doing your implementation plans, you can see what others have done. So for example, I can look at the tag disciplinas, and I can say, oh, look, there's in psicología, my field, there's 10 reports that I can go to and see what others have done around psicología, okay? These are all the different reports that were submitted. Or maybe you want to see how have others used Twitter in their classrooms? What kinds of things were people doing with Twitter? And I can jump down to here and look at 52 reports on Twitter. The other way you can look at it is by types of projects. So let's say you're thinking about your project really as something about aprendizaje activo. That's where you would find liberating structures, for example. You might want to just search by the type of implementation. So you can see that these different reports have been tagged differently and in multiple ways. So there's different ways of jumping in and finding different reports. Does anybody want to add anything to that, or?
No, that's very well. And when we get to the part that when we demonstrate how you get your information into Comparte, you'll see the places that you enter this information, all that it will help other people to look at. Also, just we're going to organize, like right now you can see all the reports from last year because there are no reports from this year. So in the future, you'll be able to see reports from 2015 and 2016. And the new thing that we're adding, like literally 10 minutes ago, is a new distinguished category, which we will ask the UdG Agora participants to suggest and nominate really some of the reports that they found the most interesting or useful to them, so we can sort of be able to have the best reports made available at another link.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, and that's going to be a great, really helpful feature, because I imagine that the ones that people rate really highly will float to the top and be more visible.
Oh yeah, and we're talking, this is like a sneak peek. We might actually use the star thing so people can give them maybe stars or chili peppers or tacos. I'm thinking a 5 taco scale would be good.
Oh, nice. Or hot chili peppers, yes. Alan will do something wonderful, I'm sure, so no problems there. I'm wondering if I should jump into the Escribe part so we can see what the categories are that we want them to use to fill out their reports.
Before you do, click on Ayuda, which is somewhat of a guide for people who may not want to watch this whole video.
Oh, nice.
So last year we wrote this, of course I wrote it in English, and we worked with Kike to translate everything in Comparte to Spanish. So you have both options. We have a sample, a link where you can copy sort of a template for being able to format your report. So we basically set up something that has the sections that we think are important.
Mm-hmm.
And Nancy's showing something, one taco. And so if you want to start using this template, you don't have to in Google Docs. It would work very well to structure your report. And then you could be able to share it with your triad or other people for feedback.
Yeah, that'll be really helpful. And I'd forgotten that we had this Google Doc all ready to go. So the Ayuda section is really helpful if you want to get an idea of the whole picture before you start writing your report.
Do you want to do our role play now?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Nancy, do you want to? I see Nancy's hair.
She's
muted.
She muted. Speak, Nancy.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. I had to, my phone had went to sleep, so it took me a while to find. First of all, I think someone should screen share Ken's 5 taco scale response on Twitter, because this is really kind of mind blowing.
Let's see. Are you seeing my screen share?
Yes, I'm seeing the Comparte report. No, now nothing.
Let's see. Is it UdG Agora or?
No, on Twitter, I think.
Oh,
it's on Twitter. Yeah.
Go to twitter.com.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
You see it?
No, I think you're in another window.
Okay, let me get moving over to this one.
Window. I mean, he made an animated GIF of, this is this idea that you begin to use these tools, and at first they're awkward, and then they become a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken is a living example of that. So
in real time.
There it is. There it is. You had it for a second.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and it looks like Sarah Carolina's with us again. Hello, Sarah Carolina.
Hola, Sarah.
So in any case, so we thought it might be useful to role play what it looks like for a triad to sit down and discuss one professor's report. Mm-hmm. So imagine we're sitting around with a taco or two, or maybe some chocolate, or maybe some cerveza or cafe, whatever. And you guys have read my draft report, which I did using the Google Doc template, but I haven't uploaded it to Comparte yet because, this is a rough draft, okay? And I did it pretty fast. So I just want to tell you, my students went out and did some videos capturing either good or bad public health behaviors around for our public health class. And so, you guys, what did you think of my report? Huh?
I thought your idea of having students go out and do something outside of the class was really great. Like what a great idea. It's collaborative and it gets them learning outside of the class. I was really interested also to see some of the videos that you shared that the students did. I'm wondering though, did you ask them to have a time limit on how long those videos should be? Because I saw that some of them were like 1 minute and some were 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, that was something we learned in the first experiment, was I didn't put a time limit on it. So the second round, where they had to go and do a second round, we said actually 60 seconds max.
Mm-hmm.
Still, a challenge I had in both cases was how to make a whole out of all their inputs. Because, I've got 30 students, 30 videos. How do you make sense across it? So that's when I started using some of the liberating structures in the classroom to have them make sense of the videos. So they did sort of a 1, 2, 4 all. And I had groups work with groups of videos to start identifying patterns. Because there's no way, I learned the first time, there's no way I could individually watch and respond to every video. And nor did that help the students learn. So really, the big change for me was getting them to use the videos, not me.
And also remember, Nancy, that when you in your draft you have a link to the YouTube site, which is what you want. But when you go into Comparte, you can actually put that YouTube web address on a blank line in Comparte, and it will embed the video right in the report. So it makes it better, I think, when people are reading your report, if they can watch the video in context. And I think also you may want to consider, because you have so many student videos, you may want to look at the YouTube features for doing a playlist, so you can group videos by topic.
Yeah, I'm going to do a playlist, but I actually still think, so let's talk about the student feedback, because this is the same thing. How do I take this vast body of material created, both the videos they created and their feedback, into something that's useful to another professor? Because it was useful for me to absolutely consider every single piece of student feedback, but I'm still struggling about how to share the overall with my fellow professors. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I think the survey you did was interesting, and definitely you've got that in terms of some data, but I don't think that really gets deep enough into the student experience. So, whether you can, again, have audio feedback, or, I like that one thing you did one time where, like, students had to summarize in, like, a 6-word story, which kind of gets to the impact of it with like, their own photo. So I think it really means something to actually see the faces of the students who participated.
Yeah. So, okay, there's another lesson is, if I'm going to devote time to kind of creating an artifact or producing that artifact of student feedback, I need to plan that earlier on, because now it's a little bit late for me to do that. So, and you're right, those are the compelling things, was their stories. And again, the 6-minute audio is like, I can't handle it. So,
yeah. I have a suggestion for that, because I like that idea of a 6-word story. That's a great idea. I'm wondering whether VoiceThread can be a good way of doing that really quickly. And then you have it all in one place, and everybody can see each other's voice feedback on it. That might be a good way to just quickly get all that from students and have it all in one place. Because I wonder too, would you have them synthesize it in VoiceThread versus me? Yeah, I think so. I think that if you had each student sort of, you can maybe have a collaborative activity that has the whole group of students sort of summarize, what did we all think, really? What are some key points that came out of this activity that we all share? What are some recommendations that we would have for our professor? Do you think that needs to be anonymous, so because I'm the professor, there's still that power dynamic. How do I get them to really say that? I think the survey, to me, it didn't get to the heart of the matter. It was very mechanical. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe there's another way of doing it too that is more anonymous, that is maybe like, like those whiteboard things where they just anonymously add their 6-word thing to the whiteboard, and then there's a big whiteboard collection. I think that's
a board thing.
Yeah, something like that. So I mean, in my class, and not being anonymous isn't so much of an issue, but I can understand that it might be in yours.
And one more thing, Nancy, I mean, you explained in your introduction, like what you had them do. As another teacher, I might actually want to be able to see the exact information, the way you presented to your students. You know, did you give them a handout in class? Was it posted in your Blackboard? So a little bit more about how you actually carried out that procedure.
Yeah, and again, I think what I don't, this reminds me, what did I replace? And for me, in reflecting on this, I think I have to answer the question for myself. Am I going to replace that permanently going forward? Am I going to stop doing, basically the introductory lecture and instead take them right out to the field, get them immersed in the reality of public health, and then come back and do the more didactic piece? And I think I am, but it still feels like a risk. So, I think and I don't think I wrote that in the report. So I think I better go back and look at my own reflections a little more closely. Thank you. That was really helpful.
It was helpful to me too. I really look forward to seeing some of the things that you talked about with us in the report, because that would be helpful to me as somebody who doesn't know what you did, and I'm thinking about it. As many concrete steps and concrete reflections as possible would help me trying to think about whether I could do this.
And also because I want it to look pretty. It's not in the template, but think about like what would be really good is that top long image to put at the top of your report. And
you're always pushing me to make it look pretty, Ellen. I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a drawing and put that at the top.
Oh, yeah.
That would look great.
Yes, capture it with your phone, and there you go.
All right, I think we've kind of.
So
you guys followed the script perfectly.
That was a role play. In case you're watching this and you're fast forwarding, we just did a role play of how you can use your triad to give feedback on your draft implementation reports and push each other. Really, really, be kind, but also push each other to do better.
Yeah, and just get those perspectives that sometimes you can't get when you're writing, or I can't get. And sorry again, loud background noises here. I'm covering my mic.
Sounds like fun over there.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we at with this? What do we have left to do here?
Well, hopefully Sandra and Ali will get piped in. We could go more through the demo. There is like a video. I think now that I remember, what we had done was I had sort of done a video walkthrough of Comparte, and then Kike had done it in Spanish.
I think I shared that in the tiny letter.
Okay.
So, and I think maybe that's in Ayuda as well, if I see that correctly.
Yeah, it's in there too. So we're trying to.
Don't forget the Google form too.
I did. Did you not see that when I was sharing that?
Oh, I might have been tweeting. So again, I think if I think from the UdG perspective, they really have to be accountable. That you get your reports in and that you fill it in the form, because that's part of the institutional stuff we have to pay attention to. So I want to make sure that, particularly since we're waiting for Ali and Sandra, just in case they don't come in, is that's part of our responsibility.
And also the reports are a lot of the things we're going to use pretty intensively on our last day together when we kind of reflect on this whole experience. So the more you can be able to share in your reports. And I should also add that when you submit your reports, if you include your email address, that gives you a way that you can edit it later. So if you realize maybe in January that you forgot something or that you have an important detail, you can go back and modify your report.
Mm-hmm. So what Nancy was referring to there, I'm just going to pull up actually and screen share this. We'll remind you about this when the time comes, but let me just grab the window. But basically, after you've submitted your report to Comparte, we're going to send you a form that you actually have to fill out. It's a mandatory form. And this is where you're going to tell the administration and to tell us, this will be changed a little bit, but you'll have to link to your report that you submitted to Comparte and any other links that you want to share, because this is how ultimately you are evaluated for the diploma in the end by CIEP. So this is going to be really important. So again, it's just to sort of say that, you know, sharing your report in Comparte is not, it's not a nice to have, it's actually mandatory, and this tracking form is also a mandatory part of this diploma.
And apparently, Lucho, I got a DM from him. He's one of our regular watchers, is watching right now. He's saying he can't read the stuff on the screen. It's okay. It's not important right now to read all the text.
Okay.
No, I think it's just the way Google, sometimes it can be hard to read all the words, but.
Yeah, we'll get everything in a tiny letter too. The tiny letters and DLO will have all the instructions, so you'll be able to see and walk through it yourselves there as well. Okay, so I'm wondering, so we have two things. One is to walk through what it looks like to submit a report in Comparte, but there's also, I have a couple reports I can share from last year. Maybe we could talk about those in terms of what I think makes it a good report and where I think it could be improved. What do you
Sounds good.
Okay, let's do that.
do that? Okay, so let me get to screen sharing again here. First of all, okay, let's start with this one. This is, let me get it into a new window. Bear with me here. There's my Hangout. Okay, screen share. Here we go.
See, by doing it in the window, you don't get that matrix effect thing.
If I do it in the window? Oh, right.
You're good. Yeah, we
Okay.
can see it right now.
But now I have to do the navigation one. Where is it here? Okay, here we go. Can you see this pretty well? Yep. Okay. So this is an example of somebody last year who did one on psicología. And this one, if you look at it, so here's it's got a nice title that really gives me an idea of what the person did. In this case, Laura, and to some degree why. So and you want a nice title that sort of tells us a little bit, or tells the reader, you know, why they should really look at your report. So you don't want to have a title like My Report or Laura's Report. You want to have something that's actually informative. So she's followed the template that is inside Comparte, and that you can also see in the Google Doc. And it's a very nice, brief introduction. There's also a link here that you can go to look for some more details on the challenge that she implemented. And you'll see here that her report is actually very short. There's not a lot of text, but it gives you a really good idea of what she did and why. She includes you'll see that she includes how she did it, a good reflection piece as well. And on the evaluation side, she says here that the students filled out a form in Google Forms and did a video. And in general, there were good comments. So this, for me, is the weakness of this report. I like it up until now because it's very brief. I get a good idea of what she did. It's easy to read. There's not too much detail, but there's enough detail. But this part here, I'm sort of like not convinced. I mean, there's no summary of what the students, for example, in the Google form, maybe there could have been a graphic about, you know, the summarized data. Maybe there could have been a few links to some of the videos from the groups. Maybe there could have been a summary about, in general, the good and the bad that, you know, students had to say in the videos. You know, and maybe a little more specific about, you know, in general, really good comments. Well, you know, how many, what does that actually mean? So I think this part, if you want to have a really good idea as to whether this was a good implementation, you need a little bit of information about what the students thought.
And also, you know, I would like to see, like, what do you do with this information as a teacher? You know, so where do you take this evaluation? That's
a great point, actually. And I think that's what this section here is trying to address. But I don't think we really see that, the students felt that this part was a bit long or something like that. Therefore, next time I would, make it shorter. That kind of taking forward this evaluation part from the students and thinking about what you would change. I think that's a really good point.
And I think Roger has shown up. We just went up to 3 viewers.
Oh, great. Excellent. Hi, Roger. The other thing that's really good is in the report, she's included a link to some of the work. That's helpful, because then when you're reading these reports, you can see what a Padlet actually looks like in this case. So good information to include as well. The nice thing about this one too is that somebody has actually commented on it. So somebody, I think, from this group has added a comment and left an opinion, a helpful sort of comment to Laura. And this is what we really want to see. This is really important that we're looking and commenting on the reports of others, and we're going to have you do that as well. So that's the first one. Let's see if I can just jump to grab the link directly from the chat without having to flip out of here.
And I like the picture at the top, just want to say.
Yeah, good point. She's actually got her own picture.
Yeah. If you don't, the ones you see that have the picture of the auditorium and the university, that means they took the default image, which is okay, but
we want you to do a little bit more this year.
Well, when I see this, it's like this is something that makes me want to read the report. This gives me a little bit of a indication about what I might find in there.
Well, it's about people. It's about the relationship between teacher and their students and their domain, and the images really bring that to life for me.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is an example of the standard photo. I think if you don't add your own.
That's a nice photo.
It's amazing. I bet Cogdog did that photo. So this report here is got a nice title. It tells me, I like this Confusiasmo Filosofico. That sounds great.
Omar is great. I remember Omar.
So this report, and again, keep in mind that last year, the professors didn't have as good instructions as you have now, because you are group 2. But this report, if you read it, has lots of good information, but it's actually looks like a copy-paste of his plan, because everything's written in the future tense. So he's describing in here what he's going to do. And in the reports, we actually really want you to have, use your implementation plans to recycle them as much as you can, for sure. But you do have to go in and do an edit and change it to what you actually did. And probably some things that you wrote in your plan may have changed when you actually implemented it. So you do have to edit that. So make sure what you're putting in here is the what you did report. So this part is all future tense and describes what he's going to do, which is very useful. Really good step-by-step on how to do it. Lots of detail about where in the class, detail about the activity. So there's lots of really good detail. There's even what hashtags to refer to, so we can go and search them on Twitter and see what actually happened. But again, it's all written about the future. If you go down to the bottom, though, you'll see that he's actually got his final report, even though it's not clear to me. It wasn't clear to me that the final report is actually linked to the bottom. And then here you have a very detailed final report, really nicely done with screenshots. Nice. And evidence, student feedback, and everything is there. So he's done it. But the thing is that he's put his implementation plan in Comparte and linked his final report. We would prefer that you did the opposite, that you actually do your final report in Comparte with all this good information, include as much as you want. And if you want, then you link to your actual plan, but you don't need to do that. It's the final report of what you did is what's important.
And just to be clear, that link at the bottom is a field in Comparte when you're entering a report that is an option to add like a footnote to your document. So you can add a reference, like we saw the last one had a Padlet. So it's kind of like see more information. But we, like Tanis is saying, we'd really like to see it inside the body of Comparte.
So, but people can comment on these too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them, the last example showed that people, were commenting. So in this group, I think we'll have them comment a lot more.
There will be commenting.
You will be commenting. Yes. We'll make you comment.
You must comment.
You must, yes. I have one more. Do you want me to share one more?
Sure.
This is good. I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Let's go to this one.
David's liking it.
Yeah. Okay, this is our friend Mowgli.
I don't think we're saying it yet.
Oh yeah, I haven't gotten there yet, but
okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. But good reminding me, actually. Okay, here we go. I'm screen sharing the wrong screen. Hang on a sec.
That's okay.
This one, it was the philosophy one, right?
I may have to mute because now we have contractor too.
Oh yeah, you got a busy house.
Nancy's House of Fun. Yep. Seeing
Okay.
it now.
So this is Mowgli's report. So this one is again, it's got a great title. It's an example of a very, very detailed report. And again, you don't have to be this detailed. I think everybody has their own style. I tend to be very short and quick in my writing style. This is a very thoughtful, very detailed report that you'll see here. And there's a lot of really great information about this one is about aula invertida, and he even links to some links to be helpful to others about aula invertida. That's a nice addition to his report, actually, is, he's taking into consideration who might be reading this and how they might want to know more about it. So he's creating actually a report that's a really good resource as well. But he's doing more than he has to here. Lots of detail about the qué, por qué, cómo. And we go down. He's got multiple stage process here that he outlines. Lots of different details about instructions that he gave students, even like how would they learn how to do video. So for example, he's got a matrix here, it looks like, about that would be helpful to students about and to others who want to do this implementation, about what he's learned about different aspects of video.
And I want to point out, I'm pretty sure he composed this in Word or Google Docs. And if you do a table in those platforms and you copy it into Comparte, the tables will be preserved.
Oh, that's a great feature. That never happens. That's nice. So you can see it goes on and on and on. This is a really long, very detailed report. And that's great too. If you want to be that detailed and that long, you can.
But wait, right there, like he's got links to the videos. So those videos could have all been embedded in the report too.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Although the links are great to have those as well. And let's see, he's got some resources for formatting presentations in video and that sort of thing. So then we get down to the reflection part, quite a long, detailed reflection as well. And a really good summary of the evaluation. What's really helpful here is he also includes the form that he used for students which again is helpful to others to sort of see, okay, what is an example of a feedback form that I might want to use? You don't need to create your own. You can go and look at, what he used and maybe use the same one. So helpful information. And then of course there's also a link to the Facebook group that he used as well. So this is an example, I guess, about a very ambitious report. And again, you don't have to be this ambitious. The first one I showed you was also very sufficient from my perspective. But you can see here that if you really wanted to get good detail and have a really clear understanding of how he did quite a complex implementation, there's not much missing. So I thought that was an interesting example.
And again, the most important things are what you write. I mean, to explain what you did. The media is great. And if you need help with the media, ask your triad, ask me. I can really help you figure out, how to get your images you can upload to Comparte. All the media that's stored elsewhere, like YouTube, Vimeo, Animoto, and you can embed tweets into your report directly too. So, when you're drafting your report in, let's say Google Docs, I would just put placeholders for all those medias, like say insert YouTube video here, or upload screenshot of student working on project at playground here, because in Comparte you'll actually add those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's, I mean, you can be as simple or as, detailed as you want basically with these reports. But I think, yeah, I mean, it's to consider the audience and consider how it might be useful to others and how much sort of reflection and thought you put into it. Because sure, you've gone and done an implementation, but the real important part of this is the so what, now what, and, what did the students think? Did it really help their learning? Was it worth their time to do it this way? Was it worth the effort? Is it good to change in this direction? And if it failed, then that's also really, really important to know and to reflect on why you think it didn't work. So keep in mind that these reports can also be about failures. That is sometimes a really good way to learn more, is by actually sharing failures. We often rush to share our successes, but imagine if we shared a bit more our failures.
And that's, I mean, this year has the advantage of being able to look at the previous projects, and that's, we're not just doing this to kind of give you busy work to do, but as you're looking at those reports from last year, you can say, this one's really helpful, or like, man, that Mowgli just typed way too much. And so, you can find perhaps the behavior and style that you think would suit the way you want to be able to represent your report. So, think about how these reports present themselves to you and factor that into the way that you present your reports for someone who's not familiar with what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd add one thing more, which is, I've been reading in DLO every morning. I wake up and I read the posts in DLO, and the last couple of days have been really touching and important to me, because what I'm seeing and what I'm reading from you is how this has changed you and how it's changed your students' experiences. And the level of insights that you're harvesting from the experiences are so valuable. And we want them to be shared out with other professors at UdG and other teachers around the world, because when you can change how well one of your students can pay attention in class, that's really important. So I think it's that level of insight, no matter how you wrap it, long, short, fancy, not fancy, picture, no picture. It's those insights that make a difference for you, for your students. And when we compartir, we can make a difference in a lot of other professor and students' lives. So to me, this is the heart of the matter. The accountability is important, but the heart is that learning.
Nancy, you just gave away the secret of the project. It's not about the videos or the tweets or the report. It's actually that they change their approach to teaching.
Yeah, that was really nicely said. And what more is there to add? It's really, and again, I mean, maybe just emphasize again, use your triad to critique each other's reports, because, as you saw, these 3 reports, there are good things in every one, but there are also things that could have been improved in every single one of them. And that's really important. That's really key. Let's get this thing up on the screen here, just so we can see Nancy's beautiful drawing here.
Yeah,
I tweeted it too.
Okay, I shared it on the stream. And we're sorry that Sandra and Ali were not able to join us. We've asked them perhaps if they could record a message that we can send out later.
That's great. Yeah. So we can do this any number of ways. So that's the nice thing about this. And again, this goes to show that this is how teaching is sometimes. You have a plan, the plans change, we adapt, we do something else. So it's happening to us too here in these Google Hangouts.
And we'll kind of repeat and link to this archive if you want to watch it again. For apparently 79 other people were not present today. Of course, we don't require attendance, but you know, some people do participate in DLO and some people do read the tiny letters. But we really want to make sure everybody has a good understanding that for the next couple of weeks, they're probably still working on aspects of their project, but thinking about how they will represent it in Comparte. Because there's a deadline, right, Tanis?
There is a deadline. The deadline for your Comparte reports is December 1st, 2016. So last year we had some people who implemented later in the semester, so their reports came in a bit later, but we really do want to see at least one of your reports in Comparte by December 1st. And we'll provide some more information in the tiny letter. We will prompt you again in tiny letter. We will push you and prod you and poke you, but you also have the responsibility to do that with your triads as well. Poke each other and help each other. Help each other where you need to be helped.
I'm poking Nancy.
And again, the DLO, if you need something specific.
DLO, right there.
I just added the due date.
I'm zoomed in on that. Thanks, Nancy.
Great. We're good.
All right.
Okay.
That's all for this week.
It's a
Muy
wrap.
bueno.
We're wrapping this taco up.
We're wrapping it up.
All right. I'm going to stop.
See you in DLO, and we will see you in tiny letter, and soon we will see you in December.
Bye-bye. Hasta la vista.
Hasta luego.